Good morning, everyone. Today is March the 17th, 2021. This is the StockCast show, and my name is James Mason, and with me is Todd Derby. So happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Todd, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine and festive. I don't have any Irish coffee going yet, but I could have by early afternoon today.
Yeah, you notice I started stuttering because when I flipped over the camera, I was looking directly at you, and it made me forget my words.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Tip of the hat, Mike.
you took the words out of my mouth. All right, everyone. So, really quick, since it's St. Patty's Day, hit the number 1 to kiss Todd because he's Irish, or hit the number 2 to kiss me because I'm Irish. You have to do it. So while y'all are hitting 1 or 2, the market, as we stand right now, the Dow futures are positive 12 points at the moment. S&P 500 is negative 5.5 points. So it's looking like we're going to open up kind of going sideways and probably get into some choppiness, which sucks. So it's honestly kind of feeling like a Friday already. The pre-market overall has just been horrible with opportunities, in my opinion, at least. Todd, have you really seen anything this morning?
There's a couple that were trying to do something huge. SSKN, HOTH had a small little bump, but nothing. It's actually, we were talking earlier before the show, is just about how the last 10 days to 2 weeks, the pre-market's been lethargic. It's compared to the last 2 months, where there used to be some huge pre-market runners, and we're just not seeing that last few days. I don't know what that means or what's going on. I don't know if people are sitting on their hands because of stimulus money. If we thought we were heading into a correction, but there was something going on.
Well, even with these, small cap runners, there's not as many of them that are really breaking out like how they usually do.
Right.
I mean, we are kind of getting to that season where, spring break is in, and then we'll have the summer months, and things will start slowing down some. So, I mean, we'll have to keep that in mind, but still, nonetheless, it's not exciting at all. So let's take a quick look at this ticker right here. This is ticker HUGE, and we can see this thing had pushed up. Let's talk about the fundamentals.
Put your chart up, please.
All right, thank you. Let's see. Let's talk about the fundamentals really quick. So last updated for the short interest, share short 284,000, and it's roughly not even 1% of the float being shorted. So nothing really significant there. Outstanding shares, 30. Well, it's the same. 30 million shares outstanding, and the float is pretty much the same. So this is a low float. As we can see, this thing had a nice pop, but word of caution. There are some big groups who are into shorting, and they are eyeing this one up. So with that being said, unless if you have some extremely deep pockets, and they better be pretty daggone deep, for especially going against this one group in particular. But if you plan on going long in this thing, man, may the leprechauns be in your favor today on that. So me personally, I would not go long on this. Just knowing that bit of information, I would avoid this at all costs and honestly find something else. With there not being much moving pre-market, all these big bearish traders, they'll be all over these small cap stocks, these low floats, and they'll all be hammering the same ones.
What was the news on Huge?
Let's see. Let's take a look at it. So for today, they just released a Form 40F and a Form 6K. Yesterday, it basically just says that they're they're entering into a license agreement to develop FDA approval veterinarian drugs.
Okay.
So really nothing too significant, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the drug is for dogs and cats, and so I wonder if they have different.
I'm pretty sure this is like dog Viagra. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Okay, all right. It's actually, this is for.
I'm just joking. It ain't dog Viagra. Todd, what kind of person are you to give a dog Viagra?
It wasn't me that said it. Gastrointestinal diseases.
You went along with it though.
Actually, I was starting to read that.
You accepted it. Like who accepts giving a dog Viagra?
I know. I now know why I'm your co-host. I'm here for you to kick around.
Oh man. Let's talk about SSKN. That was another one that started having some rapid movement, and then you can see it is dying off. And again, just like I was saying, for everyone who's tuned in right now live, there's not much popping up pre-market here. So these big bearish traders with their groups and whatnot, it's slim pickings for them. And it's not that they're joining forces, but in a sense, they're kind of joining forces since there's nothing for them to attack. And it's going to be hard to really shake some of these bullish plays out today, unless if we just get a surge of volume. And as it stands right now, get about 2 hours and 15 minutes until the bell. It's looking tough. Now you can see this ticker right here, SSKN, had a nice push up, but look what happened. I mean, they're literally just trying to take on everything. And they did knock this down pretty good from 316 down to 228 right now. And they'll probably start covering somewhere around this 9 EMA line, let it have a small little bounce, and then hit it again, more than likely. We'll just have to see. But nonetheless, I'm not even chasing this one to the long side. So that's pretty much all I see kind of decent pre-market. Well, that would be considered decent, but knowing what we know, that's what I watch out for.
Yeah, so I mean, there's no pre-market runners. So let's talk about a couple. Let's go to our members and ask them. They've got a couple stocks they want some feedback on. So let's jump in a couple of those. First one is FCEL.
FCEL.
Frank Charlie Echo Lima.
Fuel cell. All right. Let me look up its fundamentals for you all. So the last update for the short interest, 26.3 million shares shorted, 8% of the float. Shares outstanding, 322.4 million shares. The float, 322. We'll just round it up to 0.3 million shares for the float. So this thing does have a decent amount of shares out on the market. We are coming off of earnings here, and with the way that had dropped, I just only assumed that it didn't look too good for those earnings. But I haven't read them yet. So let's take a look at the daily chart, see what we have going on here. All right, so this one right here, before I could personally go long in this thing, I'd have to see it get above $21. And I do know that's roughly 6 points away. But just looking at this daily chart, that range right there would be where I'd feel comfortable, where I'd start seeing that uptick with the bullishness again. So $21 would be roughly my entry, breaking above this high right here in this daily candle. And with that, probably look to keep a wide stop in it and just honestly put it on the low of that same candle. So entry at 21, stop loss at 18, and I would put a target price between 25 to 29 in that range. I probably, if I entered this one, probably take half my profits right here at 25 and let the other half run up here if it would, hypothetically speaking, and just try to take profits. So that's just talking in context of a picture perfect world for fuel cell. So what else do we have, Todd?
TNXP. Thomas Nancy X-Ray Peter.
See, this thing has actually moved up in a pre-market. So for TNXP, the short interest last update, 1.6 million shares short, 0.5% of the float being shorted. So relatively nothing there. Shares outstanding, 323 million shares outstanding, and the float is the same. So this thing has a lot of shares out in the market. Its PPS value is currently $1.48. This one is going to be hard to move. Let's check this news out real quick. So all I'm seeing right now is just a 8K and a report for positive COVID-19 vaccine efficiency results. With this many shares out in the market and the pre-market volume is only 4.2 million shares traded at the moment, I would have a hard time. Yeah, I'd have a hard time seeing this thing push up. This is obviously a prime candidate to short, as you can see selling off right here.
And I wouldn't short it. There's no range. I mean, what are you going to short it down to zero?
Exactly.
So I mean, like the risk versus reward is minuscule. It's just not worth it.
Like don't get me wrong. Like I enjoy shorting, and I know that probably sounds sick in the head to say I enjoy shorting beating someone's trades down, but no, like I enjoy shorting something that is extremely overvalued. And when I say extreme, very extreme. And the reason why is if it's extremely overvalued, there's more of a chance that I'm going to be successful in that short. But I'm also not coming in and trying to kill the entire trade for everyone else. I do want to take a significant profit, but I'm not coming in dropping 100,000 shares short, doing anything crazy like that and destroying other people's portfolios. You honestly wouldn't even know that I'm there shorting. But there are traders, a lot of traders actually, who would chase 10, 15 cents like this. I mean, we see it all the time, Todd. I mean, It's unreal. It doesn't even make sense. Too much risk. So TNXP, that's what I see right there with this thing just having so many shares out in the market. I don't think this thing is really going to do much.
Yeah, it's an easy borrow item too. So to me, it's a no play.
Yeah. Let's see what else we have.
SLNO. While he's looking up that information, somebody asked a question about using a trailing stop with percentages. Not sure. I think most of the time when people are using stop losses, they're setting a hard number or a number that they work with, or they have a mental stop loss and they're watching the ticker, and then they will execute when it gets there versus putting in so the market makers can see it.
Yeah. So using that trailing stop loss with the percent, that's challenging. You're going to get stopped out pretty quickly because if you think about it, just for the sake of simple math, let's say a stock is $1. You put your trailing stop loss in at $1, and you're doing the percentage stop loss on that one, and you do 10%. So it can fluctuate down to 90 cents, like that. Now, if this thing had a range on it, say between 75 cents on up to, $2, you're going to stop out pretty quickly. And as that thing keeps going up, if it pulls back slightly 10%, it's going to just trigger so quick.
Yeah.
So that's why people really just put that actual value in there, whether it be like, 25 cents, 30 cents, whatever your risk tolerance is. It's a lot easier to actually look at your chart and have an idea where you're going to get stopped out at. All right. So SLNO, let's look up some information on this thing. All right. Last update for short interest, 767,000 shares short, 1.2% of the float. Shares outstanding, 79.7 million shares outstanding, and the float is 62.4 million shares. So this is relatively a smaller float. It's not extremely, it's not a low float, but it's not anything crazy. So this is something that could be worked with right here. It's manageable. So let's look at the news, see if we have any important stuff. So just looking at the top of the news, I don't really see nothing recently. That's not to say that there ain't a catalyst pending for this ticker. I'm sure there is somewhere. This is just me taking 5 seconds to look at it. So looking at the chart, so significant gap down right here. Obviously, let me take this line off. With this one, I'm just looking at the chart. Again, I haven't done research on this to know if there's a pending catalyst. So if you know if there's a pending catalyst, this trade may make more sense for you than me just looking at the actual chart, breaking it down. So just looking at the chart in general on the daily chart right here and breaking this down, I would avoid jumping in this thing at the moment. And what I would wait for is I need to see these daily candlesticks start trending sideways, at least for a little bit. And what will happen is that 9 EMA line will dip down, and you want to see those candlesticks get above that white line, which is the EMA again, that 9 EMA, and ride it back up. Now, if you're really wanting to take a significant power play and a relatively safer strategy, you would just wait for that crossover. Here, it didn't really commit much. You can see it went up and then broke back down. But then right here, when it came back through, that's when it committed and really had a significant push up. So that's what I look for when I'm looking for those crossovers. But again, like trying to jump in it right here, unless if you're already in it and upside down. But if you're trying to jump in it right here, you're going to be waiting a while unless if some catalyst hits for it.
So the member who asked about it, I just pulled it up on Yahoo Finance, and I see there's an investigation with some improprieties going on 8 days ago. And looking at the daily chart, that looks like 8 days ago the stock took a dump.
Yeah.
So I until I knew more about that, this would be a no play. I assume you asked about it because you might be in it. So I'm not sure we gave you helpful information, but that's from someone looking from the outside in. That would be our position or my position. I'm not that encouraging right now.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I haven't researched this to know if there's a catalyst waiting for this ticker.
Correct.
And that could change everything here. So if this thing did have a catalyst pending, whenever that may be, then this might be an area where I just like, man, these are super cheap. I might just start a position here, a smaller position here, and wait a little bit until we start getting some bullish movement in that stock again, and then add later on. But overall, I mean, if we disregard that investigation and how it gapped down right there, when you kind of zoom out here, this is the setup that I actually do like to see. This green line right here is the 200 EMA line. We can see how this thing has just been beat down for a while, and it's kind of just trying to bring itself back to life here. So I like to see this, and you can see how it made multiple attempts to try to get back above it, and this attempt back here with whatever happened with that investigation really knocked the wind out of its sails. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Let's do one more ticker. The ticker was asked about Life, LIFE.
Excuse me. Let's see. All right. LIFE. Short interest. Last update, 297,000 shares short, 3% of the float. Outstanding shares, 10.1 million shares outstanding. The float, 9.4 million. So this thing is a low float. I like that share structure. Let's look at the news real quick. So they had news yesterday. I'm seeing a couple different articles, even going back to days prior. And this thing clearly has a catalyst, on the horizon here. So we can see this daily chart and how we had that massive bullish day right there. But today, pre-market, we are pulling back. Now, we do have earnings coming up here next week, so keep that in mind. And with that being said, and just talking about the chart, let's zoom out again. Again, for the long-term setup right here, this is what I like to see. This, just beat down right here and then going sideways for a while. We can see that the stock is trying to bring itself back. And me personally, I'm actually going to do some research on this one. And I might, depending on the catalyst and whatnot, I might make an entry myself. But let's see, what it's going to do overall. And again, I need to do some research here to see why this is pulling back pre-market. But anyways, just looking at this from a technical standpoint with this pullback, what I would look for an entry, if I do get in, I would jump in at the break above this high at we'll just say 645. That's when I make my entry. So let me go back to the daily chart. So at 645, I make my entry, which would be right there. So where the yellow line is, my stop loss. So can you guys see this 9 EMA, how it makes this little loop right here? What I do in these situations when I'm looking for my stop loss, I'll come down here and I'll find that break below that little like hook, I guess to say. So we see a candle right here. And what I would just do is I'll put my stop loss right there at its low. So at the moment, we're just going to say, we'll say 565. So I'll just draw another line right there. So this says 566, but y'all understand. And now I'm going to look for my target price. So with this thing being super low float, and again, I need to really look into this catalyst that we have going on. If I feel like it's significant enough, what I'm going to do is I want to look at these peaks where it created these highs in the past. Now we're currently already in this range right here, so I'm not even worried about that. Once this thing picks up more momentum, we'll take off. So one thing I always like to look at is what the PPS value was. If I see that there was a split, I want to see what the PPS value was then. So right here, on the day that it split, that PPS value was $5.71. So we're already above that. So that's cool. And I'm just going to work my way back. And I want to see this price action. I want to see where it's kind of pushing up at and just kind of catching some resistance and what all it's just doing. So I can see it right here. These candlesticks are just kind of arching up and just grouping. So I'll look at that, line up my crosshairs to see how it plays across the entire chart. So those crosshairs actually go beneath these candles back here. And then it's creating resistance right here. So $12 would be my target price. Again, I need to do some research on this, but just from a technical aspect and breaking this down, and whoever called this out, you probably know a lot more about this stock than I do. That's why you're bringing it up. So you're probably already ahead of the game. So my target price overall would be $12. Let's see. My entry would be $6.45, and I would put that wider stop on it at $5.65. And I know a lot of people would think, oh man, he's crazy putting a stop that wide. Like, why would you risk so much? It's not that I'm risking so much. I'm not taking a massive position size. So how like a lot of people tend to do, let's say if someone wanted to buy 1,000 shares, we'll just say 1,000 shares. So they'll buy 1,000 shares and they'll put in a 20-cent stop. That's great and all if you literally caught the bottom perfectly and it just runs up. That's always great. But what's the odds of that?
Hard to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I find my stop losses and target prices and entries based off of what the chart shows. I'm not doing all that silly stuff where I'm just like, I'm going to put in a 15-cent stop and have a target price of $8. That's just, it's stupid. Literally, those are just internet people throwing fancy numbers out to sound like, oh man, this guy really understands risk management. And if you go with this strategy, you're only risking 15 cents when you could make, almost 8 points of profit. It's just not how it works. You have to be realistic, and being realistic is how I trade. So I would put that stop there because that's where it breaks down at. And I just keep my position size smaller. So if it was me compared to someone else who is keeping it tight, I just take a smaller position size and let that thing run whenever it does. So that's what I see for ticker LIFE. And Todd, do you have anything else?
No, the only thing I would just tell people is that no one ever got sick from drinking green beer. They only got sick from drinking too much. So
hey, that's true.
Be safe, be smart, enjoy the day. And I think personally for me, it might be a short day for me, or I don't see a whole lot that gets me excited to put my money at risk today. So it'll be a low trading day for me.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a short day for me. I mean, heck, I only have 12 tickers on my pre-market scanner. This is rare to see this few tickers. So, yeah, that's all we have today, guys. We appreciate y'all tuning in. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to our channel. We do this for the likes, guys. We do it for the likes.
Oh, let's do one last one. Look at IMTX. This is a ticker that I'm in. I called it out a couple days ago, and I think they just released. I'm just getting a notice that they released some news.
So they just dropped a Form 424B3, whatever that is, a Form 6K, and the news is data update on dose escalation from ongoing ACT engine cell therapy. So Todd, do you know anything about this one?
No, I was waiting for this catalyst news. This ticker was I just got into it 2 days ago. It was trading flat, and I'm up 20% as of just now. It wasn't here a half hour ago, so this just happened. So this might be my one exciting trade for the day that put a little cha-ching in the bucket.
You did say IMTX, correct?
Yep, Indian Mary Thomas X-ray.
Huh. That's interesting. Oh, all my candles are over there to the right. I was like, where's the stock?
There it is.
The only thing I don't like about this one, I mean, this thing did have a nice gap up. The only thing I don't like about this one is just really don't have a lot of data to really go off of. Especially with this gap up, if I wasn't already in this thing, I would probably avoid it. So, anyways, guys, y'all have a safe and happy St. Patty's Day. And Johnny, you dropped $5 or $20 here a day. Is this company money? You're just recycling company money? Like, where does this money even go to? I don't even see it in the account. I don't know. But anyways, all right, guys. Hey, y'all trade safe. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and we will see y'all tomorrow.
Goodbye.